Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is Keo Boom Daiken with another exciting episode of The Burn. Welcome back. So this is my first firework video for after the 4th of July. I have some other videos I definitely want to upload. I actually recorded everything from the 4th of July show. But thank you guys all for joining. I'm still around. Just decided to take a quick break because that 4th of July season kind of wore me out, as well as some of the other things I have going on in my life, as well as some other things that you guys will find interesting probably within the next month or so. But today I decided to invite a very important guest here on the channel. You guys know him. His name is Boom in the Sky. I really took a liking to a lot of his videos that he posted a few years ago. I believe he's been on YouTube now since 2019. And so one of the things that he really interests me about was his whole presentation. And so with his whole presentation, it was just different for me. You know, it was clean, crisp. You know, he wasn't just shooting fireworks. He really brought a different feel to the YouTube community in regards to firework reviews, as well as his great personality. He's a business-minded guy. I really like him a lot, and I'm definitely subscribed to him on both channels to help him out. So let's give a warm welcome to Boom in the Sky. What's going on, Boom? What's going on, man? How you doing today? You're there. You're
What's
live.
happening? What's going on? I actually can't hear you in my I actually have to log in to hear you, by the way. I could hear you before, so
you probably have to change your mic settings if you log out.
I can't hear you in my this ear is the live one.
Oh, well, I know there's a mic setting like on the main page before you join in. You can actually switch microphones before you actually join in.
Didn't log out. Let me
Yeah, if you log back out for a second and then right before you join, it'll allow you to change your mic on your options.
Yeah, let me hold on one second.
All right. What's going on, Jason? If you guys all know, if you guys don't know who Jason Murfield is, he is one of the owners, operators from Iowa Firework Farm Store in Iowa. And I did get that package. I do have an upcoming review about that. Thank you again for the nice gift. Really appreciate it. And what's going on, Cali Pyro and all the other users, Pyro Corvo and Brad Reville? How's your sound coming through, Boom? Is it coming through okay?
I'm just going to jump out real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. So, yeah, the 4th of July season, guys, it was really fun. I have a lot of good videos I definitely need to upload for all of you. So, you know, I was wondering, should I just combine a lot of the videos or just do them one by one? Because for those of you guys interested in a specific product, I didn't really want to upload like 40 different videos, you know, but so I may end up just doing that anyway because it'll be a little bit easier for future viewers to just kind of find it. Then, of course, do like a little mashup video. You know, I like to do my little music videos and stuff like that, you know, keep everything entertaining. So I'll probably do both for everyone. But yeah, I have probably about 30 or 40 videos. I pretty much recorded everything that I shot this year. But I wanted to take some time off, you know, relax, as well as upload some other RC car videos on my other channel. But I do have a lot of important news reviews to upload. I really didn't want to upload any of those prior to the 4th of July because a lot of those stories are Debbie Downers. All right, let's see. Boom, you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect, man. So definitely want
it was strange. I couldn't tell that you were live because it wasn't coming through. So I had to actually join the stream, and I was wearing 2 different earbuds so that I could, if I did come through. So it was weird. Anyway, whatever. We got it fixed now. We got it fixed.
Definitely. So like I was telling everybody, I really enjoy your material, your presentation on how you come across showing videos in the pyro world. You do interviews, obviously, good high scale quality content. Mike is always on check, videos. And so I really just love how you brought a different feeling to the pyro community. You know, it's definitely different, definitely needed. And I've been watching you for quite some time. So if you just want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you got started with your channel and what's your passion.
Yeah, so I go by Boom in the Sky. Bam, there's the logo. I got
That's right.
stickers made and everything. But basically I recorded my first video on Easter Sunday 2019, and I think it was May 6th. I actually uploaded or created the channel, and I've been on since then. So I essentially I've always loved fireworks. I've always just I've enjoyed fireworks when I was a kid. I grew up in the Northeast, so we didn't really have fireworks. We had we kind of had the pop snaps and sparklers, and that was it. And then I moved down to Florida a couple of years ago and ended up where I walked into a TNT wholesaler, or not wholesaler, a TNT retail store, and I was just floored with how much product there was. But I noticed that there was it was really kind of how expensive things were. And then just that learning experience of how to shop for fireworks, how to buy fireworks, how to set up a show, how to do all that stuff. And it just kept going and going and going. And then I just kept acquiring products and things and firing systems and all sorts of different stuff. So so I mean that's really really what it is. Like that's kind of where it came from. So I've always just loved fireworks. So I used to, when I was a kid, I used to chase them around, and I'd go to all the shows, the city shows, and photograph them. I mean, this was before cameras had video on them, like you could get a video camera, but I was into photography. So I'd go take these beautiful like time lapses of things. So that's kind of how it started. And then I was, I started watching, all the people that you probably would normally start watching when you find it. Joel Robinson was definitely one of the first people that I really do respect Joel for everything he does and how he does videos. And never met him. Hope to meet. I've actually never met anybody in the Pyro community, if I think about it. Yeah, I've never met anybody. I've talked to a handful of people, but I've never met anybody. So.
Yeah, and you get around too, because you've been to the East Coast, the West Coast, up north. I mean, you've been around. So, and that's another thing I like about your channel is you're not sitting on the sofa or staying with your local demographic. You're all over the place.
Yeah, I anytime I go somewhere that I can, I would stop and find a fireworks store. I have some family in North Carolina, and I live in Florida. So, I drive straight up 95. And last September or end of September, early October, I think it was, I think it was 9 or 10 store tours. So, what probably should have taken me 12 hours to get from here to North Carolina took me like 19 or something.
Oh,
and
man.
I stayed overnight, and which was great. I mean, it was fine. I wasn't in a hurry. So, but all in South Carolina, everything that was, and I've done them before. So like the ones that I hadn't done, like Jabs Fireworks, I've done like the Fireworks Superstores and, all different ones. I've done Area 51 in South Carolina. And then I did it again in Pahrump when I was out there. So I've been to 2 of the 3 Area 51s. So yeah, I've just always loved fireworks. So,
What's your opinion about the different demographics? I know there's a big, because you've been to what I always say the West Coast area, which is Pahrump. You have that market versus some of the stuff in the Midwest. What do you think is the biggest takeaway between the difference between the 2 different markets?
I don't know if I've really ever thought about it. So, I mean, there's definitely a difference in brands, obviously. So, in South Carolina, for example, you get a lot of like Mega Banger products. And then when I was in Pahrump, obviously you have Red Apple, you have, Area 51, you have Blackjack Fireworks, you have, what is it called? Outlaw, the one, I think you were there. And I think Redbeard went out there as well. I saw his video that he did. I believe I tried to go to that one, but it was before it was Outlaw, and it was whoever owned it before, and they were closed. So, but yeah, I mean, it's just different brands. You get different brands, you get different product, you get, in terms of demographic, don't know if I could really answer that question.
Mhm.
You know, like I said, I've only been to certain places on the West Coast. I've never really been to fireworks stores in the Midwest.
Right.
You know, you get in South Carolina, it's whatever the distributor is, that's what you can get. Like they're not
Right.
going very far off of that. Almost every store had the same products or at least the same brands. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I've definitely noticed a lot of that. I know a lot of people. It's really kind of hard to compare what goes on the West Coast to Midwest and the East Coast because everybody has a different, brand that they're used to selling. So,
yeah.
but let me ask you. So, what are your thoughts this year, going from this fireworks season, or actually going into this fireworks season from 2021? Going into the fireworks season for 2022. I know if you know Eric Alma, owner of Pyro, correct?
I know the name. I've never talked to. I don't think I've ever talked to him. I had a conversation a long time ago. I believe he sent me a copy of the big rack book or whatever, the one that he made.
Right.
But I've obviously seen him and interacted with him in all the different groups that we're in together.
Of course.
I think to answer your question, I think there's definitely there's definitely like obviously an increase in prices. I did a video. You've done videos about it. That shipping is up. Imports are up, and obviously last year, like there was so much interest because of all the professional shows were canceled. It was one of those things that you had to just, we're just going to do backyard fireworks. Even, if normally people were like, oh, you know what, let's go get a couple things and then we'll go to the professional show and it'll inspire us, right? Or the other way around. Last year, it was like, we don't have any fireworks. Let's go buy the store out, right? So I did a video last year. Actually, I went to this place in South Carolina. It's like golf ball warehouse or fireworks outlet or something. It was on Jimmy Kimmel at one point. And the guy told me, he's like, we got to paint our walls after the 4th of July because we had no product. We literally had no product. So it was the first time I'd seen their walls. So
now that was last year, right?
Yep.
Now, how did they do this year? Were they able to restock and recover?
I mean, I haven't been up to all those fireworks stores in South Carolina since then. I'm probably going to do another trip at some point here, but obviously it's just planning and everything. So, I guess I'll have to wait to tell you that. I know that they were ordering things. Jabs Fireworks in South Carolina. They have 3 stores. They actually just opened a new store. I've heard it's a really gorgeous store. People have written to me and said, you got to check this out. You got to check it out. So it's definitely on my list of places to go. But, when I called up and said, how's your inventory? And they said, we're fully stocked or almost fully stocked.
Okay. That's good to hear.
The smaller stores, it may be a cash flow issue, right? So, you have to order early and you have to order, in quantities in order to get on the list of how you get fireworks. If you don't, then you just don't get those products, right? So,
that's definitely true because I think the biggest takeaway between going from 2019 to 2020 and then 2020, 2021, and then now 21 going into 2022 is people are wondering, are we locked into these prices that we're currently paying for fireworks? And I know I haven't seen all the prices in the Midwest and on the East Coast, but I know that they've definitely gone up on the West Coast. And I know there's been a question here in the group chat. People are asking, are these prices ever going to go down? So what are your thoughts on the direction of the firework industry in terms of prices? Do you think this is going to be something cemented for a number of years, or do you think it's going to go down pretty soon?
I don't, unfortunately, I don't foresee prices going down anytime in the near future. I mean, I think that the shipping is probably the biggest issue. And again, I've never talked to the people who import or export fireworks, whether it's from China or from into the US. I have some, some store owners that I know. Kenny from Four Seasons Fireworks. I've met him a handful of times and seen him. I've done a couple store tours with him or at his store. And I've been in the warehouse, and it's, the difference between from 2019 to 2020 to 2021 is huge, right? But
right,
just being able to resupply all of that product, I don't know if it's going to happen, because not only do we have to get back to where we were, we have to. Yep. We have to have more to catch up to where we came from, right? So,
yep, exactly.
If and I'm just going to make stuff up here because I don't know, but say for example, everybody uses, a store would say, okay, normally on a normal year, we order 5 containers worth of product. Again, I'm just making this up. Bigger stores will have obviously more, smaller stores might have less. I don't know. But they say we're going to have 5 containers, and that will take us for half the year from, whatever it is, February through July 4th. And then they turn around and say, we've got 3 more containers or 4 more containers coming. So they've had 8 or 9 or 10 containers over the course of the year. Well, they've sold out of the stuff that some of that would normally carry over. And if they've sold out, now they have to say like, okay, I need 12 containers every year or 13 or 14 containers to get back to where I was. Right. So, and if every single retailer and every wholesaler and every vendor is doing that, I don't know if I see a time that, that it works. Like it's hard for that to happen. So unless we get shipping stuff worked out, and unless, coming out of China, if they get container, I mean, one of the biggest issues is there just aren't any container ships. Like they're kind of stuck. Like they can't build containers or container ships fast enough. Right.
Yeah. The biggest problem is there is a huge bottleneck going on the California seaboard. And for those of you guys who didn't know, I did a video, and the port of Long Beach, which is also next to San Pedro, they supply over 250,000 businesses every year with containers. So all those businesses depend on the port from Los Angeles, Long Beach area. And so a lot of people got sick. A lot of people went home. They weren't working. And so that's where a lot of the backlog came from. I mean, California, Los Angeles County area has been a huge mess because you've had problems with the truck drivers, and then you've had problems with what's going on down at the dock. So a lot of it really isn't so much China as far as the backlog, but it's all business and economics that's factoring into the rise of our fireworks.
Yep.
But
it's just I don't foresee it going down. You'd have to talk to someone that's a little bit more that's like a little Jason. More in the know,
like Jason Murphy.
Yeah. I mean, you have to talk to someone that's a little more in the know and might have a little more direct connection. The guys from 76, Spirit of 76 might know better. Doug or Mike from Red Apple might. Redbeard might know more. I don't know. Shout out to Redbeard. Shout out to the deleted user who said I'm an awesome pyro. Thank you very much for that shout out.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you think that a lot of fireworks stores, because I know a lot of them sold through their, what you would call their emergency fireworks, do you think they should have sold through that or just kind of held on to it until they kind of had a better idea about how they would be able to restock for the next year?
That's an individual decision. If they were expecting that they were getting, 30 containers on July 10th, that they would be able to restock with everything, I guess that all depends on every specific group.
Of course.
Right? So,
right. Of course.
I don't know if I can answer that. And if they know that there's a shortage and they know that it's going to be harder, maybe I would say like, let me at least keep some fireworks. Right. But at the same time, it's, from a business standpoint, you're saying, I got somebody to buy fireworks now. I'm going to have them buy fireworks because then I can buy more fireworks, right? So
yeah, true. Yeah, I think
luckily
2020.
my stash is I'm pretty set on my stash. I'll probably end up doing one more order before the end of the year. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of stores probably got excited with the bum rush and the number of people buying fireworks for 2020 that they probably thought they could just easily, stock up again going into 2021. And, one of the things that, I've talked to you about this as well as a number of other people was remember back when they started limiting toilet paper and other supplies like Lysol at the stores.
Yep.
And I asked one of the store owners, I was like, so, hey, are we going to have enough fireworks for 2020? And it was just one of those things where you think about, because it's not like you could run around the corner and say, hey, let's make some more, and
Right.
if, you have a more abundant supply of supermarkets. And so if they're limiting what people can buy, then I had wondered, like, well, what kind of trouble or what type of situation would fireworks stores be in if they're not limiting what people are allowed to buy? And, what would happen? And so I know I had always had an idea that, we may run out of fireworks before, I think this was in late April of 2020, but it really didn't take effect for me to really see it when I pulled into the parking lot at Area 51 in Pahrump. And I think it was the first weekend, I think it was Memorial weekend, right after they allowed all those fireworks stores to open. And, for anybody understanding the demographics, keep in mind that when I think it was the governor of Nevada, when he allowed all the stores to be open, the fireworks stores, that was the only attraction to go to. That was the only place in probably a 500 to a 1,000 mile radius that was really open to the public. Remember, the casinos were closed, Disneyland was closed, there was no Laker games, no Dodgers, no Phoenix Suns, there was no football games, nothing. There was no Magic Mountain, Knott's Berry Farms, no Universal Studios. The only thing that was open was you had Area 51, you obviously had Outlaw Pyro, you had Phantom Fireworks, and then you had Red Apple Fireworks, all open for people's entertainment. That was the only place you could really go just to say, hey, I want to kick it.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, I mean, I don't foresee it getting better. I mean, but like, if you think about it, there's shortages in every market, and prices in every market have gone up. So everything from cars to lumber to electronics to, if you're trying to, I have friends, I'm in the consumer electronics industry, and, trying to get a graphics card, a high-end graphics card, they're like, can't get them, trying to get this, trying to get that. You just can't get products in so many different industries. So, until we can fix that infrastructure problem and get more ports and get more things built, right?
Right.
It'll be hard to fix it, right? And then obviously you have to fix the supply chain on the other side too. So I've actually been thinking, is what would it take? And I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but I'm just saying, what would it take to open a fireworks manufacturer here, like a U.S. based, or maybe shift things to Mexico and be able to bring things within the our own continent, to have a U.S. based fireworks, not retailer, but actual manufacturer, like a Brothers, a Winda, a Raccoon, whoever it is, right? Like,
no, it's a very interesting question. And I know one particular individual. I think they started researching or looking out towards South America for a venue, because you're right, everything's coming over from China. And the weird thing is, I know back in the day you used to hear a lot about fireworks from Mexico. Even on the streets of LA, you don't hear too much about fireworks from Mexico anymore. Most of the people are going to Pahrump to get their fireworks. But I remember back in the 80s and 90s, that's where a lot of people got, the good stuff. Whereas, street dealers are just getting them from, people going to Tijuana, getting the fireworks. But I don't hear too much from that anymore.
Yeah. Nicholas in the chat just said, I'm afraid it's impossible to manufacture in the States, at least consumer fireworks. So, and then Jason just said Zenith Manufacturing still in Missouri. So I don't. Again, I don't know. I've never really looked into it. Redbeard wants me to do it, so maybe if anybody wants to give me, if anybody wants to donate like $30 million, and I'll look into it. Feel free. I'll send you my email address, and I'll wait for that PayPal.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah, that would be a definitely good thing if we can get some type of manufacturing here, stateside. I mean, I know China's been doing it, for a number of years, and that's where most of the companies are. But yeah, that would be good. It would open up jobs in different businesses because there's definitely something that it needs to be done to drop down the price. And I've actually talked to a few sources today, and they confirm that the prices aren't going to go down for another 4 or 5 years in regards to fireworks.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with that. I think it's probably at least we're at least talking 2023 would be my guess.
Yeah.
So.
And my thing is too, because typically the best time to buy fireworks or any type of firework accessories is Black Friday. That's when I know Scott and Eric, they usually have a lot of discounts Black Friday. And so if we don't see prices go down there, which will pretty much be the next lowest possible point before next season, I think that'll definitely be a concern for a lot of people, to kind of get a better idea about what the market's going to be for the following year.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's going to be 2023. I think, and it's actually on my channel. It's strange enough. It's the most watched video of my entire channel. Is the truth about fireworks stores. Which, I made in 2019 is the funny thing is the truth about fireworks stores. And I was kind of it was a reaction to like, as I was learning these things, unfortunately I updated it and nobody watches the new one or the newer one that I made last year. But and again, it was me learning all of these different ways to do things and to buy fireworks and purchase, because, again, when I started my channel, I went to, I had gone to TNT in Dania Beach, Florida. And then I found, I'm watching all the videos and people are like, oh, you can get Xcal shells. And I'm like, what's that? I don't see those at TNT. Oh, well, they sell them at Phantom. Okay. So I'll go up to Phantom in West Palm Beach. And I bought, a thing of Xcal shells and whatever it is. Right. And I'm just sitting there going like, I'm looking at the receipt and I'm going like, wow, this is really stupidly expensive. Right. And it's the same thing. When I was in Pahrump, I was talking to Doug. I interviewed Doug and had a whole conversation with him and we were talking. He's like, when people get home and they have 5 things in their trunk and they go like, I just spent $600 or $800 and I have 5 or 6 or 10 things in my trunk. Is there that much value that do they see it? Okay, this thing lasts for 30 seconds.
Yep.
It cost me $100. Is it worth it? I don't know. I mean, that's an individual thing, right? But then all of a sudden you start to learn about different types of stores that aren't the buy one, get one stores or buy one, get two, or, you start to do what I think every pyro at some point does, which is start to buy wholesale,
Yeah.
Or you go to somewhere that has relatively similar case pricing to wholesale, right? They might have a minimum, they might not, and I can't really, I know you're way more in the know in the case pricing out in the Pahrump area. But what I've started doing is I just order from various suppliers and I kind of do the math and I say, these cases cost X, shipping costs Y, X plus Y for this amount of product equals something, right?
That's true. Yeah. So, I know. Yeah.
And you can really shop around and it's like, and I'm not saying anything bad about any of these guys, but when I was looking at fireworks, the first time I ordered from WF Boom and they were great. They had whatever I don't remember what their minimum is, like $600-700, right? And I ordered from them. Okay, great. But shipping was $150. And then I looked at Spirit of 76. And then I looked at American Wholesale Fireworks. Fireworks and Red Apple Fireworks and this one and that one and all these different places. And for me, being where those fireworks stores are not, shipping is a big thing, right? Because we're literally talking about coming from Ohio, Pennsylvania, Pahrump, Arizona, wherever they are, right?
Right.
And I just took that all into account. And I just said, okay, if I go to Red Apple, I can get 10 cases for, I'll make it up, 10 cases for $1,000 plus $200 shipping. If I go to, again, this is, I'm not using specific examples, but if I go to Spirit of 76, I can get 11 cases of something that's kind of equal, right? Because they're obviously not the same product. There's Sky Bacon and this and that and whatever. And then I go to American Wholesale Fireworks and they have something else and they're running a special for, $99 on shipping or whatever it happens to be. So, and I just got better at buying fireworks and I developed those relationships. And one thing, if you guys are not in the Pyro Universe community, hit up Sabrina from American Wholesale Fireworks. And if you tell her you're in the Pyro Universe community, she'll put you on the platinum list. There's still a minimum. It's like $400, I think, which is great. And there's obviously still shipping if they'll ship to you. But you'll get platinum pricing, it's awesome. So,
yeah, that's always the best thing. I know when I first made the jump, one of the first things when I was a kid, a lot of people, my family, myself, and people that I knew, we were just tired of TNT. We got tired of spending money on the duds. And this was years before I found out about the
no dud guarantee.
The no dud guarantee. And then even with that, when they set up these firework booths, they're gone the next day, So it's like, well, gee, who wants to go try to track down the company, even though now I know that you can mail it or contact them and stuff. But prior to social media and really getting on the internet, I got tired of duds, or I wanted better performance for my money. It wasn't so much about, oh my God, like $200 is a lot of money or $500 or anything like that. I always had a set amount, but it was more or less, I wanted the best, no pun intended, the best bang for my buck. I always wanted better quality. I wanted duration. If I liked something. Would you say
you wanted the best boom for your buck?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would definitely want the best boom for my buck because, I was buying fireworks and it was just disappointing. And for about 5 or 10 years, I could care less about the 4th of July. I hated listening to fireworks. I was like, oh, great, because my whole perception for a while was just fireworks, TNT, and Phantom. Fireworks, TNT, and Phantom. If you're familiar with, the West Coast, how they have those stands and stuff. So I said, you know what? I really want some good stuff. So I made the drive out to Pahrump, started buying up some good stuff or whatever. And I'm a performance guy. If you ask me what kind of fireworks or whatever it is on the market, I look to see the benefit of it and get the grade A performance, because that's what I want, because I want to enjoy myself. And I know fireworks is a little different compared to some of the other industries, because typically for a lot of us, it's something we do once a year. So if I'm spending a couple of $100 or even $1,000 once a year to get a few moments of enjoyment, and I'm doing it once a year, it kind of averages itself out. But it's not something I'm doing once a month or every day. So for me, I'm cool with it. I just rather have the performance, because if I get some crappy fireworks that are duds, I have to wait an entire year to set it off, and that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so as of last year, so funny story, when I did my first show, so I'll back up even more. When I moved down to Florida, it was like 7 years ago now. I moved in 2014. I went to TNT. I went to Phantom. I found, we don't really have a lot of firework companies and stores. There are pop-up stands for the 4th of July and New Year's. You can buy fireworks all year long. But it is technically illegal to shoot anything into the air at any other point, or actually any time in the year, right? In 2019. When you would go to a Phantom or a TNT, they'd make you sign something that says, it was like and I don't know if they do it around the country, but it would make you sign something that says like, this is for agricultural purposes only. which it literally, it's like we're chasing birds away. Now, so at my friend's house, they have peacocks that are really annoying, and they're really loud, and they poop on cars and whatever.
Right.
So anyway, so I went to their house, and one of their friends, this guy named David, he we were like, okay, let's do some fireworks for the 4th of July. And this was back in like 2017 or 2016 or something. And, the next couple of years, we would each go to whichever our stand or our stores were, and we'd buy, $300 or $400 worth of product, 4 cakes, 8 cakes, whatever it was, and some mortars. And I learned about mortars. I'd never seen a mortar before. And I was like, what's this? And he's like, oh, you just drop it in the tube and you light it and you run away. Boom. You drop it in the tube, you light it and you run away. And so I'm learning about all this stuff. And the whole thing has evolved to the point where I'm now doing these shows where I have neighbors handing me money to go like, Adam, go buy fireworks, make it awesome. Adam, here's fireworks money. Here's firework money. Here's firework money. And I didn't have that before, right? And when I first showed up, when I first was like, okay, 2019, I'm going to do a fireworks show. I had never lit more than, I would be over here and David would be over here, would be a torch. Okay, ready? David, you ready? Okay, ready. And light it. Okay, run away, and all of a sudden I brought 12 mortar rack, 12 10-shot mortar racks. And they're like, Adam, what the hell is going on? What are you doing? And I was like, I'm doing a fireworks show. And they're like, that's too much. And I was like, it's not though. It's like, you think it is, but like, if you want more than like 1 cake in the sky, you have to have more, right? Right. And again, more over the course of the last couple of years, every year now I'm getting better and better. I started with a Firefly system when it was on Bluetooth and I couldn't get it to work. Luckily I met Kevin Wu from Firefly. And then,
I remember that one too. I remember when that was really talked a lot about.
Yeah. And I was actually sitting in a hotel lobby in New York City where he happened to be. And we were talking about stuff and he hadn't yet introduced the Firefly system with Wi-Fi built into it. So I ended up kind of going out and I was like, I really don't want to do it. I don't want to spend the money, but I'll go buy a Cobra. So I bought a Cobra. And like every year, Cobra has 2 times. They don't do it any other time in the year. They do 2 times in the year. They have Black Friday and they have whatever their April spring sale. And you can buy either the first time, if it's your first time, you can buy a remote and a module and you get whatever percentage off, 10%, 20%, whatever it is, right? And then every other time you can still buy stuff, but you can't get the best deal. You can only get like, it's only 8% off, but it's the only time they discount. So like over the last 2 or 3 years now, I've been buying a module and a module and a module. And now I have 4 modules. I have 3 18M, a 36M, and nice. I have it where like I've started doing it where my show for July 4th, which I just posted not too long ago, and I actually just posted, I think tonight, I think it went up, is a version of it without music, but I have 9 mini pallets with product on it throughout, and the right and the left each have their own module assigned to it, and it all goes up together. So like if I shoot it, if I push the button, it's all scripted, right? It's a step plus whatever script, and so when I press it, the left and the right shoot, the left and the right shoot, the left and the right shoot, and then 1 in the middle goes up, and then 2. It's really cool. Nice. It's fun to do, and I'm getting better at it, and I'm but it's it's become a passion. And the funny thing is there's a whole bunch of new neighbors that have moved into the neighborhood, and all of my friends are going like, dude, you got to see this. You got to see this. You should be here for the 4th of July. Don't go to the city show. So
that's what it's about.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's about. We had a question earlier, Brian K. Pyrotechnics. I believe this question is for me. What made you like fireworks, since you said for about 10 years you didn't like the booms and so on? So I was just really busy with work. It was one of those things where I was turned off a lot from fireworks, because typically if you're in the California area and you're just, getting fireworks, you had your Phantom and TNTs. My family and I, we had a bunch of duds for a number of years, and it had got to the point where we weren't so much really enjoying the fireworks. It was more or less like, oh, there goes $5. Oh, there goes $10. In fact, sometimes my dad would pull money out of his pocket and say, hey, burn this, because that's basically what we're doing. So it's never really been, and I think for a lot of people, buying fireworks, I think is more or less about, am I actually getting, my best boom, for my buck? And so, but other than that, for a long time, I was just out of the whole mindset of fireworks. And then for a number of years, I did take family road trips, and we would stop into a lot of these shops, typically places like Tennessee, the Indian reservations. This was even back in the day where they had the old bow and arrow fireworks. They don't even sell those anymore because they're not even safe.
Yeah.
Oh, you never seen those? They were like a bow and arrow set, and they had fireworks on the end of it. Coolest thing. I used to be upset when I was a kid because my parents would never get me one. But yeah, just seeing all the different fireworks stores along the highway when you take those long distance family road trips and stuff. So, but yeah, I think it reinvigorated my attention to the whole firework thing. And so, yeah, I went out and got me some more, the good stuff, started doing a lot of my research, watching videos and stuff. And that's kind of what brought it alive, was not being disappointed. And that's one of the reasons why I love, like Red Apple Fireworks. I've always gotten good quality stuff there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they do make, they have a good quality product. I had placed 2 orders with them last year, and I still have it. So I was still shooting it in this year's show. I was shooting some Red Apple stuff. I have enough for what I do that, and again, I've turned into the Pyro that I like having 2 things go up at the same time, followed by a third thing, followed by 2 more, followed by a third thing, right? So, versus, there are different people out there, and different people like different things, right? So without even naming names, there's people who just go through and light, they'll hand light everything, and they have 75 cakes, and they just go from one to the next to the next to the next, and they go like, oh, that's a slow cake, all right, let's light 3 more with it, right? And you get kind of a sky pukey effect, right? It's great. It's beautiful to an extent. It's not for me, but it's beautiful. And then you get someone like Joel, who obviously he works for Cobra, and he's friends with all the guys, and has been out to a bunch of the different things, and he teaches stuff. But he's getting more and more into single shots, and you get he does pyro musicals, and they're amazing. His 4th of July show was amazing. Other than the country music that he used, which I could, or maybe that was his friend's show. But other than that, they're gorgeous. Like set to the music. If you ever see a pyro musical done right, they're absolutely gorgeous, right?
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, for me, I've never done a pyro musical. I just put music on afterwards. I actually upload, in my editing process, I add music, because for me, and I this is my only thing, and you guys drop a comment down below or drop a comment in the comment section. What do you guys prefer, having fireworks with music or without music? Do you like the whatever it is, the natural experience of just the fireworks, or would you rather have it either to music or just some music to help tie things together? I'm just curious. So
yeah, that's really a good question, because I know I've done a couple times, except I was playing music from my car radio. I had some loud speakers, but it's really a good feeling. I know. Excellent question. Yeah, do you guys like having fireworks with music for a pyro display, or do you guys just like lighting fireworks?
Yeah. And then you have other challenges. You have, like different places. You're in LA, right? So, or Southern California. People like Redbeard. He's in somewhere in California. And he's like the fountain guy, right? So he did he did like a 2-hour show. I think it was. I don't think it was 2 hours, but I'm kidding. But he did a really nice show that was all fountains, and to a point, it is kind of limiting to what he can do, because you have a fountain and it's 2 minutes long and it does crackle and it does this and it does that and it does. I mean, there are really cool effects, but I give props to Redbeard for what he did. You're limiting the tools that you have in your arsenal, right? So anyway, shout out to Redbeard for that. But that was a really cool thing. So let's see.
Oh, awesome.
We've got a bunch of comments that say fireworks without music. When lighting them, I would prefer to just hear the fireworks. No music, just fireworks.
Yeah, I think it depends on where you are. Like if you're in the wide open, like let's say maybe the Midwest where you have a little bit more open feel, I could definitely see the whole pyro musical experience is a little better. I know if you're street lighting, which is typically what a lot of guys do, if you're in the major cities, you more or less want to hear fireworks because you hear a lot of music and stuff year round anyway. But it's more or less just hearing the loud booms and hearing the fireworks go off because we're so much on lockdown, as people call it, California? Since more or less on lockdown all the time. So just hearing the fireworks is something you wait around all year long for. But yeah, I definitely get it. That's where the different dynamics would, come from if you're want to prefer a pyro musical, or if not, if you're in the, big city, or if you're more or less in a rural environment.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's different. I live in an apartment, so I can't, I have to go somewhere else to shoot fireworks. I happen to have a couple friends that have, one friend that I've known since I was in middle school or high school lives in Florida, and he has 12 acres. So every time I show up to his house, he doesn't. I think he's realized it by now. I'm like, hey, so we're gonna light some fireworks off, right? So I can do some demos, because I can't do demos where I live. I live in Fort Lauderdale. I can't do demos. So
right.
Yeah. So
that's definitely.
It's definitely different. Like I was going to say, like I think, and I've seen, some of the footage that I couldn't even remember and tell you who did it, but there's a couple fireworks channels that have, that when they edit things, their edits are gorgeous. They've got multiple camera angles, and I kind of fell in love with that style. So, if you guys have seen my videos on 4th of July or New Year's, I usually have at least 2 cameras going. This year I had 4 cameras going.
Right.
So, I have a GoPro pointed at the launch site. So where you're seeing them literally come out of the box or come out of the mortars. And then I have two different angles from the sky, just because, there's always wind or smoke. This year I happen to have a friend. He was supposed to film with a drone. The drone broke literally like the day of, so he couldn't film. But I'm looking forward to when it's fixed again that he can film. So
it's definitely a different experience. Have you ever recorded any of your stuff with a drone before?
No, I haven't. I've wanted to. I called I don't have a drone, but it's really hard when you're lighting fireworks and you're using setting all the cameras up, and you're trying to make sure that there's no fires breaking out. I shoot fireworks, I'm not in like an open field. There's houses. I'm over a lake, but like I had a water cake this year. It was gorgeous, right? It's a 76. No, it was a Dominator Pro. It's a 1.4 Pro item. You have to have a system to light it, right? And I had 2 of them go off, and one of the boxes kind of broke, and in my video, you see some of the stuff go forward and some go kind of backwards, and ended up sitting on the house or like in the pool. It landed like literally behind me in the pool, and a couple of them landed on the shore. So, I'm doing all those things, and I couldn't fly a drone on top of that. 4 cameras, 3 cameras, whatever, fireworks and fire control and safety, and that one didn't go. Let me grab the torch and light it. I don't have time. So, and I called a company. I called a company that that does drone work, and they were like, they wanted to charge me like, I don't know, $1,200. I was like, it's a 20-minute show. Come on.
Yeah, that's about right for about 1,200. I mean, the cool thing is when you do get a chance to finally get a drone,
Yeah.
the benefit is so you can have it hover or do a circle or whatever. So it's not like something where you have to, I
Right.
mean, you're supposed to, but you technically don't have to have your fingertips on the control
Right.
24/7 in order to control it.
I,
So
I would, if I did get a drone, I would make it do one of those patterns. I would just say like, all I want it to do is circle and just keep circling, just smooth, pointing at where I'm shooting,
right.
or hover up and then turn over and then do a circle and then just do that backwards or something. But there's so much stuff to do. Some people have lots of friends who help them set up their fireworks show. It's just me,
Right.
right? So I have a friend that lets me store his store fireworks in his warehouse, and I'm in there a couple times. This year he lent me a key so I could go whenever I wanted, which was awesome. It really did help.
Awesome. Yeah, I think
So
that
I
answers
could go and actually set up everything ahead of time, and I managed to get it way more prepared this year than I did previously. So
yeah, and I think that answers your question. Brian K. Pyrotechnist, he was asking if you live in an apartment, where do you store your fireworks? So there you go. I think that kind of takes care of
I
your answer.
yeah, I have a friend that he lives in the community. He actually, so one of my friends he's one of the guys that donates to do everything. He he moved, and a new guy moved in, and when the new guy moved in, he was like, oh, Adam, he's doing a show, can he store his fireworks in your warehouse? And it was awesome, right? So he's
Right.
like, yeah, no problem. And then he was like, on top of that, he's like, here's money, go make it a good show so that my son and all my friends and whatever get a kick out of it. So it's just it's one of those funny things. But without that, I would literally have to like sneak them into my apartment and then sneak them back out. Like, the first year I could I had a handful of them there. I think my first stash video that I made, they're sitting in my apartment, and I would bring them out at 2:00 in the morning because I was pretty sure that nobody was going to be in the elevator with me. And then I have blankets and stuff covering them up.
Oh
And
man.
so yeah.
I could definitely feel that. But yeah, I like that. You're opening yourself up to using different tools, as far as to record your show. I've actually showed that here a couple of times on my channel, as far as obviously having drone work and just a number of things you guys can do to elevate your show to a different level. Obviously having a drone, and I'm gonna tell you guys this again, it's nothing like having a drone recording your show. I mean,
Yeah.
there's when I first got my drone and I started flying it, I mean, it was like 400 feet right above me, but I couldn't see it. So I was like, you got to trust your instruments. You can hear it, but it's one of those things like, oh my God, I'm nervous. Did I lose it? And it's going to be right above you.
In my show, I can guarantee that I wouldn't even hear it. I couldn't hear. I actually wear earplugs these days when I do a show, because it's just one of those things. I'm standing, 15 feet away from high explosives going off. Like, there's no way that I would be able to hear the buzzing of a drone from in 400 feet,
Oh, definitely. No, definitely not.
Let's see.
Let's see.
Deleted user wanted to know what I prefer, cakes or shells. That's a hard question. I love shells for the size of them, for the control that, you could light one off, you could light 10 off, you can fuse them together. And when it's done, right? I have 10-shot racks. I built them using, I followed Joe Robinson's video from, I don't know, 8 years ago or whatever, when I first started, and I built a whole bunch. I built a couple more this year. But you can, and what I would do, I would fuse them together So you can pair like, oh, you know what? I've got a case of shells, and there's a bunch of crackle shells, and there's a bunch of willow shells, and there's a bunch of peony shells, and there's a bunch of nishiki shells or whatever, right? Whatever it is.
Right.
And you can pair them together. So I do love canister shells, and there's kind of nothing like 40 canister shells going off at the same time, fast fused together, where you light it once and it goes, and then they start breaking in the sky, right? But at the same time, either a cake or a fountain, there's definitely a thing that somebody else did that for you. They put together like effects that work really well together. So one of my favorite cakes is one, I believe I got it was either WF Boom or it was American Wholesale. I think it was American Wholesale. It's called Wrath. It's a fan cake, and it has basically 2 different effects. And like, I think there's a mine to a break, and then there's like a comet. There's like 3 comets that go off, like crackling comets, if I remember it correctly. But I always liked that cake. But, just being able to have that, and not have, I need, 60 cues to set these off, right? The equivalent. Okay, it's a 49 shot cake. It's a 22 shot cake. It's a 25 shot cake. My other favorite, I think I have to say, ending a show with Dominator Pro Instant Crackle Cake, 25 shot Instant Crackle Cake. I've gotten to the point where I put 2 of them together. It scares the ever-loving crap out of people when it goes off, because it's so loud when it goes off.
Right.
You can picture 50 shots going off simultaneously, and then crackle that just fills the sky. It's awesome. So
yeah, that would sound insane.
Yeah. So
that would definitely.
To answer your question, I really got to think that I do like both. This year I started getting into single shots. I also love slices now. Slices there's just nothing like it when you get a 125 foot slice that just goes 13 shots or 12 shot, 11 shots, whatever, 9 shots, whatever it is. And it's so wide and so big and so tall. They're awesome.
So I take it you're a fan of aerial repeaters then, especially the big ones, the ones that are like 196 shots, maybe 200 shots.
I usually have one zipper cake. I've never done any of the ones that are, let's just say, if you know, you know. I've never used any of them. I've never stumbled on any of them. Whether I would or not, I don't know. I mean, it's technically 1-3. But like a zipper cake is really cool. I have, the peacock cake. This year I had wheelin' and dealin'. And actually I think the picture or the video, I guess it's a picture, but the picture of my thumbnail is me standing there like this. I had my Cobra remote in one hand and the script in the other, and it was the wheelin' and dealin' cake going off, and it's awesome, right? It's just, again, it's for me, it's that, how do I become an artist to make things keep going, and it looks good. There's different effects going up, so there's, with most of those zipper cakes, they go back and forth, and then there's some sort of crackle, and then there's some sort of like finale, like 6 or 10 or 12 shots of and they burst, right? Well, when you pair that with 2 other cakes going off, it looks even better. So
definitely. So let me ask you this. So since you're believing in taking your show to another level, have you been playing around or have dabbled with Finale 3D?
No, I have not.
Is that something you're planning on doing or interested in?
I guess I could. I'll have to look into it. My thing is, and I don't know what their pricing model is. But I will say that things that, like, I would love to add something like the Cobra Show Creator, right? But they only offer it as a subscription,
okay.
and I hate subscriptions. I can't stand them. I think you're missing an entire part of the audience. I want to know that when I pay my money, I'm done, right? If I have to upgrade, that's a different thing, right? But for me, so I don't know if they do a subscription or if they do, but like, again, like you said, I shoot 2 shows a year. I shoot New Year's and I shoot 4th of July. That's it. Like, I don't need to pay for this product for 2 shows a year,
Right. Yeah. I actually had one of the reps here on the channel. His name is Drew from Finale 3D. Yeah, they have a few good compensation packages. I believe it's all subscription based for the most part with Finale 3D. So it's some really good stuff, though, in terms of how they use the technology, because you can actually use Google GPS coordinates to set up your show. And so if you're looking for landmarks or just particular areas, it drops you right then and there, to that landscape, that feel, and then you could develop your show on how you want it. So like if you're, you like,
I mean, when they
shooting on the lake
come
and
out
stuff,
when they come out with a version that's not that's with Finale 3D or with the Show Creator, when they come out with a version that I can say, all right, it's $100, it's $100. I know that at the end of the day, I own that program. I'll consider it. Until then, I'm good. I'm out. I don't need it. I don't, I just, I don't understand the mentality that software companies are doing. It's the same reason that I edit my Fireworks videos on Adobe Premiere Elements, right? It's $80 for the life of the product, for however long you own it, right? I guess if my laptop dies and I have to buy a new one, I can either uninstall it on the first computer and reinstall it on the next computer. Or I just say, well, there's a couple benefits to the new version. Okay, it's another $80 or $70, right?
Right.
It's the reason I don't go to Adobe Premiere CC or Pro or whatever it's called, because I don't want a subscription. I don't need to spend $20 a month on something that I use so infrequently.
That's true. I could see that.
Yeah. So,
all right,
that's my thing.
Well, definitely.
So here's a question for you: who are the pyros that you look up to in this world? Who are like your favorite people to watch?
Let's see. So I would say, as far as my favorite people to watch, obviously I watch a lot of Red Apple Fireworks videos, and then I would say maybe excludes that because we're going into companies. So we'll say Cody. I watch a lot of his videos. CZ Celtic. There are a few other ones. I can't remember them by name because I know I see a lot of their videos. I know Big T. He's another one. Most of the pyros that I love to watch are probably somewhere in the Midwest.
Okay.
Or either the Midwest or the East Coast somewhere. I also like Pyro Federico. He's another one that I watch. Okay. Also Pyro Uverse, That F10 Pyro, Crazy Steve Pyrotechnics. But most of the guys I watch are all somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah. For me, it's definitely Joel. I started watching Cody, and I used to watch a lot of Display Fireworks 1. I don't. Oh yeah, he's another. Really watch too much of their stuff anymore. We have kind of a different style. I would love to see Dave Display Fireworks 1 cut his videos from without bad mouthing him. He kind of rambles a little bit in the videos. He says the same things like 6 times. So, it's hard to get through some of his videos because they're 35, 40 minutes long. But there's a handful of them. I'm trying to think of who else. There's a guy named Brandon C.
Yeah, Pyro. Pyro Nation. He's cool. Another one.
I've never met Rob or talked.
Pyro.
And then of course there's always obviously Redbeard is here, right? So I've I watch his stuff. He I got to try some of his products and that. Who else? I'm trying to think who else I watched. I have a whole playlist of people that come up, but some of them I don't even know who they are. I just that like they make.
Yeah, right.
I have a playlist on my channel that anytime I see a really good show that I'm like, oh my god, that was the best fireworks show. I put it into a playlist. I don't even know if it's public, but it's just
throwing another name into the mix. I would also have to say for me, even though they're a company, Spirit of 76, because I've always loved how their presentation, because when I first started watching a lot of videos on YouTube, just trying to get an understanding of which fireworks had a performance, they had the young lady there in the front. She would tell you what the firework was and then show a video following
there's
that.
Sam and there's I forget the other girl's name, but there's Sam and there's someone else. So they're both good. She, obviously she does, like you said, they are a company. So when they do the top 10 canister shells of 2021, it's
right.
happens to be 10 canister shells that they sell, right? I mean, it's not like, well, there's 3 of them that are ours, there's 3 of them that are someone else's, there's 6 of them that someone else, whatever. So
eventually I definitely want to.
I'm trying to think. I'm looking at my my channel, and I'm trying to see who are my favorite folks to watch. I don't remember.
When I actually get a chance, I definitely want to have a shoot off where you actually have some of the top products, not just from one store, but comparing elements or different fireworks from like the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest. Not just shells from one particular store. I know that would be very difficult, but it would take somebody actually traveling around the country and then actually doing a shoot off.
I think to some extent, though,
what's the best product.
I think to some extent, though, I think you're going to be very disappointed with that shoot off. I really do. And the reason I say that, I mean, obviously there are good manufacturers or good brands, and there are people that are less than stellar, right? In terms of quality, right? Like if you skimp on quality, you're a cheaper product, but you don't have the same whatever it is, right? Chemicals, composition, quality control, you're using cheaper fuse so they don't always light, whatever it is, right? But there's really only a handful of manufacturers and factories that can make any product, right? So, in China, there's, I don't know what it is. There's like 6 places that make every canister shell that comes into the US, right? I'm just making that up because I don't know what the real number is, but there's like, there's 6 or 8 or 10 factories. I was talking to someone, it might've been Doug when I was actually at Red Apple. He said, if you show me a box of fireworks, I can tell you where that factory was or is, right? Which factory it is, because there's some code that obviously people who import and build products probably know, right?
Of course.
So, and it's one of those things. It's a challenge, but the other thing that you'll find is there's so many rewrapped products, like, for anybody who's watching that doesn't know this, there's, and there's lists of things out there of rewraps, right? So the XCal shells might be this, or the so-and-so shell might be this, or this fountain might be that, right? So like, I can't remember what is it called? Spartan Scream for the fountain, and Tiger's Roar, I believe, are the same fountain. I could be wrong, but I believe it's the same fountain, right? It's just a rewrap, right? But the same thing goes with canister shells. Same thing goes with cakes. The same thing goes with other fountains and probably other products. So, and then it's also, you have to have literally the same product or the same thing to compare one to the other. You can't, it just doesn't work. Like, having 2 shells from 2 different places, unless you have a willow to crackle or a red to blue to yellow peony. You can't really compare a crackle shell with a willow. You can't compare a mine shell to a chrysanthemum. It's just, of course, it's like so many comparison videos are hard. And it might be just because, I've been trying to collect shells. I did it when I actually did my video with the what's it called? With Redbeard's mortar rack. I actually shot a whole bunch of shells off, right? Whether they were all the same or not, I don't know. I mean, I shot 2 or 3 from every one. I had stuff from Red Apple. I had stuff from Spirit of 76. I had stuff from Neon. I had stuff from all sorts of stuff. So,
oh, definitely. Yeah, I know one of the other things, I think the closest thing that I know we've had on the West Coast as far as some type of shell comparison, and a lot of these all kind of fall into the same category, was when CZ American Keltec, he did his shell comparison. I believe that was 2016 or 2017 or so. And that it was really impressive to see a lot of the shells compared at that same time. And I know it would be very difficult to really maybe gauge or have a shell comparison depending upon where you're lighting them, because I know you get a different sound effect, and you can also factor in car alarms and stuff if you're shooting in the city as opposed to in a wide open field.
Right. I mean, that's another thing, is you have to do it in the same thing. So it's funny, I was, for my job, I was actually part of a recording to introduce some products that we made, and I was in a studio a couple times, right? And one of the things that they do, if you're with a really good film crew, or any half decent film crew, is they record what's called room noise. So when you're in a set, they record a minute of room noise, so that if they have to do something else, they can subtract the other noise and add in the sound of whatever that room would be, right? So that it sounds as close to the same. It's, if I was using this microphone, other way. If I was using this microphone in one and a different microphone in another video, they're going to sound different. I can almost guarantee you.
Right.
I have an air conditioner here. I have a rug on the floor. I have, whatever it is. Like, to your point, there is a bunch of differences that it's hard to say. I mean, I guess the other thing that you have to do is you have to say, we're not just trying to capture the recording of what it is. So if you have if whatever the effect is, but at the same time, you have to have a microphone pointed at the fireworks, because if you don't, you're not getting the real sound. If you're using a cell phone and not using an external microphone, like even a $20 microphone sounds better than the one on your phone, right?
That's true.
So
yeah, have you ever seen that movie called Living in Oblivion with Steve Buscemi?
No, I have not.
Check it out. Check that one out. If anybody is into film or actually want to get a better idea about what he's talking about as far as room tone, check out that movie Living in Oblivion. It is the epitome of low budget filmmaking. I think the movie came out back in the 90s or so, but it's an excellent movie. And how to make low budget movies, and well, not how to make it, but it's like a comedy or parody on how to make low budget movies. Like, everything that can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah. And if I can give you guys a piece of advice, and it's a pet peeve of mine, I have a couple pet peeves, but some of you guys might know this. I've said it so many times, but the first is film your videos in landscape. Unless you're using a platform that doesn't deal with landscape. But if you're using something like YouTube, I am a big proponent of using, if you're film like this, not like this, right? And the reason I say it is, if you're watching on a phone and someone records in portrait mode, right? So like this, right?
Right.
When somebody watches on a TV or a laptop, all you get is this narrow strip right in the middle of the strip, right in the middle of the frame. That's all you get. When you watch on a phone, you can obviously expand it to be full screen, right? But if you record horizontally or landscape, like most movies are filmed, when you're watching on a phone, you turn it sideways. When you're watching on a tablet, you turn it sideways. When you're watching on a TV or a laptop, you don't have to turn it sideways. It is sideways, right? So that is a piece of advice.
16 by 9.
Right. or 16 by 10 or whatever whatever the aspect ratio is, but it just looks better. And if it's that. The other thing is, I would say get a microphone, things like Deity. I'm a big fan of Deity microphones. I'm a big fan of if you want to spend $20 or $23 or $25, whatever it is, there's a company called Movo. I think I gave one away in my 500 subscriber video. If you guys, by the way, if you haven't already watched it, I did hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway. It ends on Friday, so go watch that video. I'm giving away some cool stuff. I've got some swag, some Firework swag, and I've got some headphones. I'm giving away 3 pairs of headphones. So
nice
t-shirts, hats, yeah. So pretty good stuff for just watching a video. So. But yeah, I mean, that's the piece of advice. The other piece of advice, and it's again, if we're talking about pet peeves, the other pet peeve I would say is, and you are guilty of this, and I was guilty of it. And there's other people who are more guilty of it, and I will call you out when I see it. But the weight of a firework has nothing to do with what the performance is, right?
True.
And I made a whole video of it, and I used a sound effect from Back to the Future. It has nothing to do with it, when Marty turns to Doc and says, "Doc, that's heavy," and Doc says, "Wait, has nothing to do with it," because if you pick up any firework, you could pick up the funny ones are like the 350 gram or the 500 gram fireworks. If you think about what's in a fire, and I'm not talking about overloads, and I'm not talking about stuff that's like, oh, it's 1.3 and a 1.4 wrapping, right? I'm just talking about consumer stuff that you get in a store. Weight has nothing to do with it. 500 grams is about a pound, right? I figured this out the other day. Me and a friend of mine figured this out the other day. It's about a pound. What you see, and if you've never done it, take a cake and take the bottom off, and it's literally like a piece of paper usually, right, that holds it all together kind of, but then just cut that piece of paper off, and what you'll find is a big block of wood, right, if it's a 500 gram cake. If it's one of those round or small cakes, the first time I saw this was actually last year for my 4th of July show. I took apart, again, I was gluing everything down to a board or to a pallet. So for my show, I had, I think they were the Barrel Bomb cakes from Red Apple. They're those like octagonal or 6-sided things, right? 8-sided, whatever they are. There is literally a block of concrete running through the middle of it. And all that weight does is it says that it's a stable cake. It's basically to prevent it from tipping over and shooting at the audience or at the house or a tree or a car, right? So those are really my 2 pet peeves. 1, film horizontally, and 2, stop saying when you pick up a cake, when you're in a fireworks store and you're like, wow, that's a heavy cake, that's going to be good. No, has nothing to do with it. So anyway,
definitely. That's definitely true.
That's my rant for the evening.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
How many people in the comments down below have picked up a cake and said, wow, that's a heavy cake, that's going to be a good cake? How many? Just be honest. I've done it. There's people who have started that, and watching their channels, you just get in the habit of going like, oh, it's heavier, so it must be a better product. How many people have done it? I will admit I've done it. I know Keo has done it. I called him out. It was a fountain. I think I called you out on the video for it. It's like, you need to go.
Which one was that?
Video.
Was that the Spartan Scream or one of the other ones?
No, it was one of the ones that spins. I don't remember what it was called.
Okay. I think I remember that when you commented on one of the videos.
It was like a red fountain. You were doing a stash. It was kind of just before the 4th of July. Maybe it was like a month before the 4th of July.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. That was the one from Outlaw Pyro.
Yeah.
And I will say that fountain, I haven't uploaded the video. That thing kicked. That thing had some serious power to it. And my family was definitely impressed with that one.
But even if it's double the weight, it's only 2 pounds, right?
That's true.
It's
true.
It's the if it was 1,000 grams, if it was double, it was like an illegal firework. It was basically 1.3, right? it's 1,000 grams. I'm just making this up. If it's 1,000 grams, it's only 2 pounds. That's it. So anything else is the stability aspect. So somebody, Jason, Jason, here you go. He says the CPSC requires those weights to pass tip over tests. So
yeah,
Johnny
I'm
said
glad
he's guilty. Brad, he said he's guilty. Jameson said he's done it when he first got over. Fired Up Pyro says sometimes heavier is better. It all depends. Yeah,
that's definitely true, and I'm glad that one particular fountain, it was heavier, but it definitely had some kick to it. But that was probably one of my favorite fountains next to the Spartan Scream. Well, I'll upload the video for you guys sometime this week. But that thing they gave me, man, it had some power. That thing was kicking. I don't remember the name of it offhand, but I will acknowledge it in the video when I upload it this week.
Johnny asked the question, what's the difference between 1.3 and 1.4? 1.4 is and there is a technical term. 1.4 is the consumer version of it, but I think there is a code or whatever, and it basically says there are legal limits on how much composition. So I forget his name. There's a pyro that takes things apart and he weighs everything. But 1.4 is everything that you're going to find in any store that is truly legal. 1.4, right? So you can only have up to 500 grams of composition, and I believe that includes the fuse. So if you have a piece of fuse that's this big, you have to put the fuse when you're weighing the composition. That's not the weight of the cake, because again, a 500 gram cake, the composition is only 1 pound, right?
That's true.
There's the wood, there's the shell, there's the tubes, there's all that other stuff. That's not composition, right? With canister shells or ball shells, you can only have up to 60 grams of powder in the entire in the canister shell, right? So anything above that. So technically, if it has 61 grams of powder, it's technically considered 1.3, which is display. That's what you need a license to go to the ATF, or you need to go to the ATF and get a license. There's a whole thing. It's regulated. You need a CDL driver's license to transport it around. You know, so.
All right, fellas. I think that really does it for tonight. I know we went like an hour 24. Usually try to keep it to about an hour or so. But this was some great feedback for the community, and definitely wanted to bring Boom in the Sky here on the channel to get his views on things and introduce his channel on this channel as well. We'll have some additional guests here in the future, but make sure you guys hit that notification bell, because I will have a lot of videos going up this week, probably about 30 or so, maybe.
Wow, that's a lot.
But yeah, so about 30 or so. But yeah, I think that probably does it for all the questions.
Definitely go check out my last video, or the giveaway video. It ends on Friday. So it ends on Friday. I do have stickers. So if you guys want stickers, I will you just got to hit me up in the giveaway. And if you don't win, I will send you a sticker. If you do win, I'm probably going to send you a sticker anyway. So but I do have to say this, guys, the way that I end all funny story, but the way that I end all of my videos is, but like I always say, make it beautiful and make it loud. And the funny thing is, the first time I said it, I had never said it before. I literally on the spot came up with that phrase, and it sort of just stuck. It was I think my second video. I said, but like I always say, make it beautiful and make it loud. And that was kind of where it came from. So
that's sweet. All right, guys, make sure you check out all the information in the description below, and also make sure you check out Boom in the Sky's YouTube channel. I believe all the information should be in the description of this video. And you can, and as always,
just go to boominthesky.com as well. That one goes right to it.
Perfect. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
Thanks, Keo.